Imagine your town council calling an emergency standing room only meeting on a Tuesday night.
And everyone's just,
Yeah,
furious.
exactly. A totally packed house. But it's not because of a natural disaster or a budget shortfall.
Right.
It's not a zoning dispute over some new strip mall. They've called this meeting because a massive windowless cloud computing facility, 3 towns over just, well, it drank half of your region's local river.
Just to cool its servers.
Right, to cool
Yeah.
its servers. And now the local power grid is flashing red warnings.
It's wild to think about.
It really is. But that is the physical, undeniable reality of artificial intelligence in the year 2026. I mean, forget the floating whitelist cloud, right? AI has hit a very heavy, very hard physical wall. I'm your host, and welcome to today's Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at a massive stack of intelligence reports to examine a shift that's, well, it's basically hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, it really is.
So, okay, let's unpack this. We have a lot of dense material today.
We do. We're looking at a collection of intelligence documents, primarily the MGF weekly report for week 23 of 2026.
Okay.
And we are pairing those on-the-ground reports with some really dense structural frameworks from our sources.
Right, the models.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Specifically, the LMOS operating system framework and the membrane contact phase model, or MCP.
Got it.
And our goal today, I mean, this isn't to debate whether artificial intelligence is good or bad. We're not doing that.
No, definitely not taking sides on that.
Right. We are looking at the mechanics of what happens when a hyper-accelerated digital future collides with the dirt, the water, and the copper wire of the present.
Okay, wait, before we dive into the deep end here, you just threw out, like, LMOS and the membrane contact phase model.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
It's not.
But for a listener who isn't, staring at these structural blueprints right now, what exactly are we looking at? Like, strip away the acronyms for a second.
Fair enough, yeah. So the LMSS framework suggests that when we look at society, we are usually distracted by the N layer.
The N layer.
The narrative layer. That's the headlines. Like AI will take your job, or AI will write a symphony.
Okay, yeah. The stuff we see on our news feeds every day.
Exactly. But LMOS forces us to look beneath that at the OS layer, the operating system layer.
Like the actual code?
No, the physical structure that actually moves reality. So if the N layer is the software, the OS layer is the electricity, the water rights, the land permits, the actual transmission infrastructure.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes so much sense. So the narrative layer is what we see on our screens, but the OS layer is the just massive amount of physical engineering required to turn those screens on in the first place.
That's a great way to put it.
And looking at these 2026 intelligence reports, the physical footprint of that OS layer has mutated incredibly fast.
Unbelievably fast. What's fascinating here is that AI hasn't really changed its nature. Right? Its sheer scale has just made it impossible to hide its reliance on the physical world.
Right, because if we trace the timeline in these reports, it's just this constant, desperate hunt for physical resources.
Yeah, step by step.
Like back in 2023, the entire AI conversation was just software. It was chatbots and parameters.
Right. Purely digital.
But then by 2024, the bottleneck shifted entirely to hardware. You couldn't just write code anymore.
Yeah.
You needed to physically manufacture specialized chips.
The GPUs.
Exactly, in these massive foundries.
Which is really the first warning sign that this wasn't just a digital phenomenon.
How so?
Well, building a semiconductor foundry requires billions of dollars. It needs, immense clean rooms and these incredibly complex global supply chains.
Right. It takes real space.
Yeah. And then in 2025, the bottleneck shifted again.
Right, because you have the chips, but now you have to plug them in.
Exactly. Suddenly, the entire tech sector was completely obsessed with electricity.
I remember that. We started seeing all those headlines about, retrofitting old power plants or tech giants looking into modular nuclear reactors.
Just a scramble for power.
But now, here in mid-2026, the reports show another violent shift. AI is suddenly all about water.
Water.
It's about land acquisition and zoning boards. I guess my question is, why water? Like, why is that suddenly the choke point?
Well, it comes down to the basic thermodynamics of computing.
Okay.
When you stack, tens of thousands of highly advanced GPUs into a single data center, they generate an astronomical amount of heat.
Oh, right. Because they're working so hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't just blow air over them with a fan like a home computer. You need industrial-scale evaporative cooling.
Wow.
So you are literally pumping millions of gallons of fresh water through these facilities just to absorb the heat. And a massive portion of that water, it just evaporates into the atmosphere.
So it doesn't go back into the river.
No,
Yeah.
it's gone. So a local municipality suddenly finds itself competing for its own drinking water supply with a server farm.
A server farm that's probably processing data for users on the other side of the planet.
Exactly.
That's insane. So AI is no longer just an information industry. It is completely morphed into a wildly resource-intensive infrastructure industry.
Physical behemoth, yeah.
We're talking about like a localized resource war over the basic building blocks of human settlement. But why is this collision so violent right now?
That's the real question.
Because we've been building data centers and scaling tech for decades, right?
Yeah.
What makes this specific moment with AI so different? Is it just a matter of scale, or is it something else?
So the structural models in our sources argue it is a matter of time.
Time.
Specifically, a velocity mismatch.
Okay, unpack that for me.
The frameworks divide our world into 3 distinct speed layers. At the very top, you have the high-speed layer. This is the realm of venture capitalists, tech executives, financial markets. Their defining characteristic is the ability to price the future instantly.
Right.
A new AI breakthrough is announced, and $50 billion of capital moves across the globe in 24 hours to fund it.
Wow. They operate at the speed of thought, or, at least the speed of a fiber optic cable.
Right, exactly. But then you have the medium speed layer. This is your utility providers, your government administrative bodies, regulatory frameworks.
Okay, so they move a bit slower.
Much slower.
Yeah.
They cannot move overnight. If the high-speed layer demands a new data center, the medium-speed utility company has to conduct, grid impact studies.
Right.
They have to secure funding and physically build new high-voltage transmission lines. That takes quarters, usually years.
Right, because you can't just will a substation into existence. You have to literally pour concrete and string copper.
Exactly. And finally, you hit the bedrock, the low-speed layer.
Okay.
This is local communities, ecological systems, neighborhood zoning boards, cultural life.
People, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the primary function of this low-speed layer isn't to aggressively chase the future. Its function is to maintain the present.
Oh, that's interesting.
To keep the water clean, the schools running, the neighborhoods livable. The texts actually refer to this as sustaining the life membrane.
The life membrane.
Yeah, and changing consensus at this level, that can take decades.
Wow. Let me put an analogy to this, because listening to that mismatch, it sounds like a severe structural flaw.
Oh, absolutely.
So what does this all mean for the systems on the ground? It's like trying to bolt a high-speed rocket engine onto a standard bicycle.
That is a perfect visualization, yes.
Right, because the bicycle isn't broken. It functions perfectly fine for a morning commute.
Yeah.
But it absolutely was not built to handle the velocity of a rocket. The frame is going to rattle, the tires will melt.
The spokes will snap.
Ah.
Exactly. And the theoretical frameworks have a very specific term for that rattling and buckling.
What do they call it?
They call it shear.
Shear, like in geology.
Exactly like in geology. Shear stress is what causes earthquakes when 2 tectonic plates slide against each other.
Oh, wow.
In this context, it's the friction heat generated by the massive speed gap between these human layers.
Right.
The financial market wants to deploy capital and build a facility by next quarter. But the local river only recharges its water table over a period of months.
Right. Nature has its own speed.
Exactly. And the community needs a year of town hall meetings to approve the zoning. So they grind against each other. The market pulls forward at lightning speed and the physical reality drags its feet.
Man. If we pull the lens back, though, this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of friction, is it? Because the 2026 intelligence reports explicitly compare this dynamic to earlier phases of globalization.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
The texts draw a direct line back to the financialization and offshoring booms of the late 20th century.
Right, the 80s and 90s.
Exactly. In those eras, we saw a similar separation between the entities reaping the benefits and those bearing the physical burdens.
But wait, the nature of the burden has fundamentally changed, hasn't it?
How so?
Because when I think of globalization, I think of outsourcing labor. Like,
Right.
a company in Silicon Valley designs a phone, but the physical labor of assembling it is pushed overseas.
To a factory where labor is cheaper, yeah.
Right. The environmental cost and the human cost are moved totally out of sight.
Exactly. That was the old model. Globalization outsourced labor to invisible, distant places.
Right.
But the current AI expansion is outsourcing direct, massive physical resource consumption to highly localized, often domestic spaces.
Wow.
When you use a generative AI tool to write an email, The computing power for that action isn't happening overseas. It's drawing power from a grid in Virginia or draining water from a reservoir in Arizona.
So it's right in our backyards.
Yes, the financial benefits flow up globally to the high-speed investor layer. But the heat, the water usage, the power draw that sits heavily and visibly on the low-speed local layer.
To put that in perspective for you listening right now, imagine opening your phone and reading about record-breaking quarterly profits for a cloud computing giant.
Right, driving your index funds to all-time highs.
Exactly. But later that same day, your local property taxes might go up because your county has to upgrade the municipal water infrastructure just to support that very same company's server farm down the road.
Yes. The benefit is incredibly abstract, but the burden is concrete.
Which honestly brings up this whole concept of fragmentation. Because when you observe this massive strain of the lawsuits over water rights, the rolling blackouts, the furious city council meetings, it's really easy to conclude that society is just breaking apart.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, actually.
Why?
Because the membrane contact phase model, the MCP, claims that all this friction actually proves something called reconnectability is very high.
Reconnectability. I have to push back hard on that. That argues the exact opposite of fragmentation.
It does.
But when I see local communities screaming at tech giants over water rates, I just see a system entirely breaking down. How does the MCP framework possibly look at a town hall shouting match and conclude, ah, yes, we are highly connected?
Because it requires looking at friction through the lens of physics rather than emotion.
Okay, physics. I'm listening.
You can only have friction if two surfaces are actually touching.
Well, right, obviously.
Right. If the high-speed AI economy could truly exist purely in the abstract cloud, completely divorced from reality, it would just float away.
Because it wouldn't need anything from them.
Exactly. It wouldn't need to talk to a local zoning board at all. But because a data center literally requires a physical power contract, because it requires a debate about local water usage, the abstract economy is being violently forced to reground itself in the physical world.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The MCP model states that the membranes, these contact surfaces between the hyperfast tech sector and the slow-moving local society, are actually increasing.
They're multiplying.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tension you see at that town hall meeting, that is a translation process happening in real time. The abstract future is being forced to sit at a table and negotiate with the concrete present.
Okay, that actually flips my whole perspective.
Right.
The friction isn't a sign of disconnection, it's proof of contact. Paradoxically, the massive, explosive expansion of the digital world is forcing us to pay attention to the dirt, the wires, and the pipes that we've mostly ignored for decades.
Exactly. AI is reintroducing us to our own physical infrastructure. The system hasn't snapped.
Yeah.
The high-speed and low-speed worlds are still in the same room.
Even if they're fundamentally disagreeing on how fast to move.
Yes, exactly.
But wait, if friction is actually a sign of connection, and running out of resources isn't the ultimate doom scenario, because human engineering can usually figure out how to build a bigger pipe or a better power plant eventually.
Usually, yes.
Then what is the actual threat here? The 2026 reports were filled with these dire warnings about structural failure. If it's not a lack of water, what breaks the system?
The catastrophic danger identified in the texts is the loss of translation between the fast and slow systems.
Loss of translation.
It's when those two layers stop negotiating entirely.
Walk me through how that actually happens on the ground. Like, give me the mechanism of failure. What does the loss of translation actually look like?
Let's use a hypothetical scenario based on the models. Let's say a tech company needs a massive new power substation.
Okay.
In a healthy, functioning system, they go to the local town, they ask for 100 megawatts. The town says, well, we can only spare 50 without browning out the hospital.
Right, so they argue.
They argue, they negotiate, and eventually a compromise is reached. That negotiation is a phase buffer.
Yeah.
It absorbs the shear.
It's messy, but it works.
Right. Now, here is the failure mechanism. Suppose the tech company, the high-speed layer, arrogantly assumes, we don't have time for local politics. We'll use a federal loophole, or we'll just buy the land and force the build, and they'll just have to adapt.
Oh, yeah.
In response, the low-speed layer, the local community, cynically decides, well, nobody in power is listening to us anyway, so we aren't going to negotiate.
Oh, man.
And the town responds by passing a blanket, uncompromising ban on all commercial zoning forever.
Ah, I see. So the tech company bypasses the table so the town burns the table down.
Exactly. The dialogue dies.
This dialogue entirely stops.
And the clinical terms the texts use for this are compatibility error leading to calcification,
Calcification.
or the MCP model calls it chronic depolarization.
Right.
When the mechanism of negotiation is destroyed, the system loses its ability to process friction. It becomes completely rigid. The high-speed layer tries to ram its projects through, the low-speed layer forms a concrete wall of absolute resistance, and the contact membrane shatters.
And that's the collapse.
That is systemic collapse. Not a lack of copper wire, but the irreversible hardening of boundaries between different speeds of human life.
Calcification, like a joint stiffening up so much it snaps instead of bending.
Precisely.
So how do we avoid that? Because if you look at the culture of technology and business management, the core instinct is always to streamline, right?
Of course.
We worship efficiency. The goal is always to remove friction, to get perfect synchronization where the local community, the power grid, and the tech company all agree instantly so we can deploy capital faster.
Well, the updated framework in our sources, the MCP version 1.2, argues that this instinct to perfectly synchronize everything is exactly what will cause the system to shatter.
Wait, really? The model says that being perfectly synchronized is a bad thing.
Yes.
But that goes against literally everything we're taught about systems management.
I know. It introduces a concept called the fluctuation stability extension.
Fluctuation stability. Okay.
The insight is that a perfectly synchronized system, where all friction is engineered out for maximum short-term efficiency, entirely loses its long-term adaptability.
Oh, because it's too rigid.
It becomes rigid by definition. If every part of society is moving at the exact same hyper-accelerated speed in the exact same direction, a single unexpected physical roadblock will shatter the entire structure.
Because there's no slack in the rope.
Exactly. No slack whatsoever.
So what is the alternative? If we don't want perfect synchronization, what does a healthy system actually look like when a rocket engine is attached to it?
The model redefines systemic health as fluid stability.
Fluid stability.
Fluid stability requires local fluctuations, it requires noise, it requires redundancy, and crucially, inefficiency.
Inefficiency.
Yes. It means allowing the low-speed layers to remain low-speed.
Yeah.
The agonizing town hall debates, the complex environmental regulatory checks, the messy human negotiations over water rights, those are not bugs in the system to be optimized away.
They're features.
They are essential, life-saving features. The texts measure this capacity for messy resilience using a metric called civilization fluidity capacity.
Civilization fluidity capacity. Okay, let me try to translate this into daily life because I really want to make sure I grasp the gravity of this.
Go for it.
If I'm a listener sitting in like bumper-to-bumper traffic caused by a years-long road expansion project, or I'm pulling my hair out trying to get a simple building permit from the city, my immediate instinct is to be furious at the inefficiency.
Naturally.
I want it streamlined. But this model suggests that very inefficiency, that slow bureaucratic crawl, the friction of local governance, is actually the civilizational shock absorber keeping us safe.
It is a radical reframing, but yes, absolutely.
Wow.
The text states explicitly, care is not an emotion. It is repolarization infrastructure.
Oh, I love that.
We usually talk about care or community maintenance as soft, charitable concepts. But from a purely structural survival standpoint, maintaining our local communities, taking the time to debate our water usage, demanding that technology slows down to answer to local needs.
Yeah.
These are the operational mechanisms that maintain our fluid stability. By slowing things down, by fiercely protecting the redundant and the local, we maintain the capacity to recover from massive shocks.
That completely flips the script on how we view technological progress.
It really does.
Taking the time to negotiate isn't holding the future back. Slowing down is the only way to ensure the future actually has a physical foundation to stand on. If you remove the shock absorbers, the rocket engine just tears the bicycle apart.
Exactly. Our focus shouldn't solely be on the technology itself. We shouldn't just be asking how many parameters the next large language model has or how quickly it can generate a hyper-realistic video.
Right.
The critical focus has to be on maintaining that deeply human translation layer. The people, the laws, the communities that sit between the high-speed digital future and the low-speed physical present, translating the demands of one into the realities of the other.
It really is a profound shift in perspective. To summarize what we've unpacked today from this stack of 2026 intelligence reports, artificial intelligence is doing something no one fully anticipated.
Hmm.
It isn't pulling us away into some weightless virtual matrix. The sheer scale of the computing power required is forcing a massive, undeniable collision with our physical reality. It's dragging the cloud down to earth, and it's making us look at our local power grids, our rivers, our land, and our community zoning laws.
It reveals that the invisible systems sustaining modern civilization cannot remain invisible much longer.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that true resilience doesn't come from eliminating friction. It comes from our capacity to engage with that friction, to negotiate across vastly different speeds of life without breaking the connection.
The narrative of AI as pure software is dead. We are talking about the dirt, the copper, and the millions of gallons of water holding that digital dream up. We're going to bring this deep dive to a close, but we want to leave you with a lingering thought.
Yeah, big one.
It's a question drawn directly from the undercurrent of these 2026 reports, something to mull over as you watch this technological landscape unfold right in your own backyard. As the AI race accelerates even further, demanding more power, more data, and more speed, what will actually break first? Will it be our hard physical resources like the water in our rivers and the transformers on our power poles?
Right.
Or will it be that fragile, messy, deeply human middle layer of translation, the local councils and community voices desperately trying to hold the high-speed future and the slow-moving present together? Thanks for joining us, and keep an eye on the friction.